High on the windswept expanse of Dartmoor, a brooding silhouette cuts a stark figure against the unforgiving landscape. Dartmoor Prison, for centuries a symbol of isolation and punishment, now stands as a monument to a different kind of transgression. Its imposing granite walls, once echoing with the clang of iron bars and the despair of its inmates, are now eerily silent. The lifeblood of the prison, the steady flow of guards, inmates, and the daily routines of incarceration, has been extinguished. The Ministry of Justice ordered a hasty evacuation in the summer of 2024, leaving behind a ghost town haunted by an invisible enemy. This desolate scene is the result of a chilling discovery. Dartmoor Prison, steeped in history and notoriety, is riddled with lethal levels of radon gas. This naturally occurring radioactive element, odorless and invisible, silently wreaked havoc within the prison's walls, seeping into the very lungs of those confined within. For decades, this invisible threat went undetected, silently accumulating in the cells and corridors, turning a place of punishment into a ticking time bomb. Radon, a product of the natural decay of uranium in rocks and soil, is a known carcinogen, directly linked to a multitude of health problems. Exposure to high levels, especially over prolonged periods, significantly increases the risk of developing lung cancer, heart disease, and respiratory illnesses. For the former inmates of Dartmoor Prison, many of whom already bore the weight of social disadvantage and compromised health, exposure to radon has become a cruel twist of fate. The stories emerging from the shadows of Dartmoor are harrowing testaments to the insidious nature of radon poisoning. Lyndon Ball, a young man who spent 23 hours a day confined to his cell during the pandemic, now grapples with unexplained lung lumps, heart palpitations, and crippling shortness of breath. His experience is echoed by countless others, their voices a chorus of pain and betrayal. One former inmate, granted anonymity due to the stigma surrounding his incarceration, describes the agonizing progression of his illness, his once strong body now ravaged by respiratory problems, forcing him to rely on disability benefits. At the heart of this unfolding tragedy lies a deeply unsettling truth: Dartmoor Prison and the human lives entangled within its walls were not just victims of a natural phenomenon, but also of a system that prioritized profit over the well-being of its citizens. The prison, leased and operated by the Ministry of Justice, sits on land owned by the Duchy of Cornwall, a sprawling estate generating vast revenues for its sole beneficiary, Prince William, the heir to the British throne. Every year, a staggering £1.5 million in taxpayer money flowed into the coffers of the Duchy of Cornwall as rent for Dartmoor Prison. This income stream, secured through a lease agreement with the remaining 24 years, continued unabated, even as the invisible menace of radon silently poisoned the very people entrusted to the care of the state. The duchy, estimated to be worth over £1 billion, continued to reap the financial benefits of Dartmoor Prison, seemingly oblivious to the human cost unfolding within its grounds. The closure of Dartmoor Prison sent shockwaves far beyond the imposing granite walls, reverberating through the very heart of the small village of Princetown. This isolated community, nestled on the edge of the moor, was intrinsically linked to the prison, its fate intertwined with the rhythms of incarceration. The prison provided jobs, a sense of purpose, and a lifeline to the outside world. With its closure, the lifeblood of Princetown was severed, leaving behind a community grappling with economic uncertainty and a profound sense of loss. The economic impact has been swift and devastating. Businesses reliant on the steady flow of prison staff visitors and the ripple effect of the prison's operations have been forced to shutter their doors. Tourism, once a vital source of income, has dwindled to a trickle, deterred by the invisible threat lurking within the heart of the village. The annual Arts Festival, a vibrant celebration of creativity and community spirit, stands cancelled, another casualty of the unfolding crisis. Amid the ruins of their livelihoods and the growing fear for their health, The people of Princetown are grappling with a profound sense of betrayal. They feel abandoned by the institutions entrusted with their well-being, left to face an uncertain future with little more than empty promises and hollow reassurances. Their voices, echoing across the desolate expanse of the moors, paint a stark picture of resilience and righteous anger. Mark Renders, the village postmaster and a local councillor, has become an unlikely spokesperson for this forgotten community. His voice, heavy with the weight of responsibility and tinged with a palpable sense of frustration, articulates the community's plight. He speaks of broken promises, of the Duchy's seeming indifference to their plight, and the urgent need for a clear plan to address the economic and social fallout of the prison's closure. In the face of mounting evidence, the official response to the unfolding crisis at Dartmoor has been met with a deafening silence. The Ministry of Justice, seemingly more concerned with damage control than accountability, has offered little more than vague assurances that they are monitoring the situation and exploring options for the prison's future. These hollow pronouncements ring hollow in the ears of those whose lives have been irrevocably altered by the radon contamination. The Duchy of Cornwall, the beneficiary of millions in rental income from Dartmoor Prison, has been similarly reticent. While acknowledging the challenges facing Princetown, their response has been characterised by a distinct lack of urgency and concrete action. A few token gestures, such as temporary funding for the village youth club, do little to address the systemic issues plaguing the community. As the dust settles on the ruins of Dartmoor Prison, a profound question lingers in the air. Who will be held accountable for the human cost of this preventable tragedy? The former inmates, their bodies bearing the scars of radon exposure, deserve justice. The people of Princetown, their livelihoods shattered and their futures uncertain, deserve answers. Over 500 former inmates and staff, their ranks tragically growing with each passing day, are seeking redress through the courts. Their lawsuit against the Ministry of Justice alleges negligence and a blatant disregard for their well-being. They demand recognition of their suffering, compensation for their losses, and a guarantee that no one else will be subjected to the same fate. The scandal at Dartmoor Prison transcends the immediate suffering of those directly affected. It exposes a deeply troubling truth about the distribution of power and responsibility in our society. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the priorities of our institutions and the true cost of turning a blind eye to injustice. How could a government entrusted with the care of its citizens allow such a preventable tragedy to occur? The silence from those in positions of power is deafening. The Ministry of Justice, the Duchy of Cornwall, and even Prince William himself have a moral obligation to address this crisis with transparency and compassion. They must be held accountable for their actions or lack thereof, and ensure that the victims of Dartmoor receive the justice and support they deserve. The windswept moors of Dartmoor, once a symbol of isolation and punishment, now carry a new message. A message of human resilience in the face of adversity, a demand for justice, and a stark reminder that the pursuit of profit must never come at the expense of human life. The echoes of this message will continue to resonate long after the walls of Dartmoor Prison have crumbled into dust.